This is classic. Every DPS player since me of Hanavod. Them playing Widow. I'm not a huge fan of this shot. Mostly just because it's a cheeky shot, which is cool. Get a kill, it's nice, but it doesn't really slow anything down because team realistically isn't going to fight around here. So by the time the cart gets up to here, the guy will already be back and doing whatever you want. So even if you get the kill, it's not super valuable. And then on top of that, you have to use grapple to get away, which means you're locked onto this lower. You're locked into this lower right side. So it kind of limits what you're able to do after that, as opposed to just holding a more standard angle, um, and then grappling to somewhere like high ground or somewhere else, or just holding grapple the whole time. And like you can't see anything, right? That you also need to be more alert on this to this side, unless you have a poison mine here. So your poison mine's blocking this door, but if a Hanzo shows up here, right, you're more or less covered by the shield. But if you were like to edge slightly to the right or left without paying attention, you can just die here. So be careful about this. If you're very sure you're not exposed, then it's fine. But generally speaking, you don't want any surprises really coming from this side. So either leave your poison mine over this door, or even like deeper, um, or just like check that corner, everyone. Right. Yeah, this is a really conservative poison mine. This says if the tracer gets on me, I poison mine. But if they don't have tracer, it's like pretty useless. Right, at some point, you should try and get a grip on where like your other DPS is. So he's hanging out up here, so that's where you're playing is currently fine. Alright, so you just saw your Hanzo cross next to you. I don't know if that's what you're concentrating on, but that's something to keep in mind, right? So either you're going to split and go for the flank on the high ground, or you're going to rely on him to hold down the left side, and you're going to grapple up here and just play the really long angle as defensively as you can. But be really mindful about just like staying here and even playing close, because your Hanzo just crossed in front of you, right? You saw it happen. Yeah, so I don't really like where you guys have ended up, where like you're both on low ground and holding the same angle, right? Like just choose one side and commit to it, right? And if like you see your Hanzo drifting towards you, ask him to go the other side, or something like that. I know that you're ringing, so this is what we want to avoid.
Activating the barrier.
Okay.
Watch your back.
Hmm. Wondering if you should just wrap around. I guess there's Widow. I don't know. Your team still had control, so maybe you could have just wrapped around and gotten help this way. Like get gone on, right? You look at where your supports are. They're a lot easier for them to swing this way and heal you, if you go wide, than it is for them to like, than for you to go through the tracer to get help, right? So I get why you did this grapple, but your team had enough control that you weren't necessarily terrified of the Widow. Um, and if you die to the Widow, I think it's still like overall like you're more likely to get help than you are going through the tracer. I also think that you probably should have just held the angle in the tracer. She's really not doing anything. Um, so just like confirm that she can't get to you, right? And that way you put a lot more pressure on her to use her more evasively rather than just triple blinking over here. I think this death was pretty reasonable, all things considered.
Hello.
Let them up.
Oh, unlucky. Spawn camp.
Hello there.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Watch your back.
Uh, yeah, I'm not sure I like this poison mine to begin with. it just doesn't really watch your flanks, right? If someone walks around the corner, right? Sure, the poison mine hits them. But I think having it like on the inside of a door or something, or just like general tracer paths, and because like you're not really worried about any individual character except the tracer, right? So having it on tracer paths anywhere, just randomly, like you can stick it over this door frame, and the tracer walking out will get caught by, it, and that's a very common tracer flank. Yep. Um, or likewise, just stick it somewhere on the left side, right? I don't think just dropping on the floor here is that good. And then you probably overstayed your welcome here. By overstayed, I mean you probably should have just grappled out earlier. When it became apparent that your team had no control on the right side and we're still regrouping. So you're probably just posted up a little bit too far. This would be fine if your Sigma was somewhere closer, or you had someone helping you like deal with this Orisa, or you just had more control in general. But your team is down a lot, so it's probably too far. When the Orisa comes in the corner, it's probably just grapple, run to spawn. Ready? Yeah. Dead as it is. Yeah, okay, Kree. That's fine. Kree's better on this point. It's part of the map anyways. Just be ready to up Widow Ash later. I know Tracer, by the way, is also really good against what.
Hello.
I like this. I would like you to try and make the split earlier, just so you can keep an eye on this door, and that way the Tracer doesn't come out and potentially surprise you. I think generally it should be the Hanzo going this way, not the Kree. But depending on the communication or what your Hanzo's doing, or if he like laid out a spawn or something, this is definitely like it's better for you guys to be split. So this is good. Just I'd like you to pay more attention to this door, like actually commit to this side a little bit early. Tracer here. Oh, sorry, nice. Roll. Yeah, just keep going. Chill for a second, make sure your team's actually pushing. So instead of like looking out here, right, look here first, and then when you see your Sigma walking in like that, then you I think you can push this a lot further. You know the Tracer's dead, so the individual pickoff is, and if you know they're busy especially, you can like walk out here, roll to the high ground, and then use this as cover and the mini behind you, right? And maybe you die for that, but it's a lot better than like doing like nothing, right? Because you had essentially no impact in this fight other than distracting the BAP for a bit, which is kind of sad. Just weren't able to get anything done, and you got to recognize when like this is your chance to push the angle, right? So this is came out. There was no one watching you except the BAP, right? If the BAP kills you, like that sucks, but at least like you pulled the BAP's attention more, and he had to hit some crazy shots, right? Versus sitting here and just like grinding out slow, because your team is trying to force a choke right now. There's an argument for hanging out where you were, but I think pushing it was very reasonable there, given the situation. Like, especially after you killed the Tracer. Back on Widow, that's fine.
One kill.
Probably need to change your angle more. So you've already taken like 2 to 3 shots here and got the Zen kill. At that point, it's time to move, right? Just walk back out, grapple up, take a shot or whatever, or just like swing out wide. Be grapple over here if you're feeling particularly spicy. Probably not, but you know. It's really important just to mix up the angles I can shoot you. And you're just hanging out here a little bit too long. It is a decent angle though. They keep walking back into it, but that Tracer is able to find you because you spent your entire time sitting here pointing one way, right? If you're moving around a bit more, this would be a lot harder of a kill, because you'd have to track down where you go. Potentially make a bit. Yeah, watch out for spawn camp here.
No.
Got it last time.
Where were we?
Yeah, nice. Yeah, not a huge fan of this poison mine. This is kind of like last ditch. Tracer's already here kind of poison mine. So like, not sure. Just save it for a bit. But this poison mine is like, you expect her to be underneath you, which is valid, right? But kind of risky. Like, not risky, but it's like not the best. It's fine actually, because it does cover underneath. Yeah, okay, I like the poison mine. Change my mind. What's up, Dan? Dead. I doing? I'm doing pretty good. How about you? Watching another one of my former high schoolers, although he's still in high school.
Doom. Got you good as new. Hey.
Oh, rolled. Yeah, and again, it's just because you keep playing this part of the map. Like if you were to draw a heat, if you were to make a heat map of where you are, spending like all your time here, 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 right? Because you're never changing your angle, they sort of just pre-fire. And become sad. Dude, Gabe's Widow aim is cracked though. Have you seen it? It's like it's so good. I just moved in, nice.
Cease your resistance.
Je ne vais plus te lâcher.
I spent a year in the dorms, and then I was like, I don't want to live in dorms.
Next.
Although UW dorms are generally not very good. Yeah, does he get like? I remember he was getting called at like they were accusing him of hacking like once every 2 scrims or something. Yeah, like you come to a different angle and then. Sorry, I wasn't really paying attention, but I assume it's because you came to a different angle and suddenly things open up for you a bit more. Just mix it up, right? Like, sometimes on maps there's like a definitive right way to play. Probably half replacements you got accused. Rip. In some maps there's like a definitive right place to be on, right? So for like for example, on this half of the map, this is the Widow spot, right? The Widow spot. But that doesn't mean you can't be on the Widow spot sometimes. Like that doesn't mean you can't be elsewhere sometimes. And in a lot of cases, the map isn't so clearly defined to have one spot, right? So you want to mix up as much as you can and then keep moving, right? And because half your value is like just suddenly showing up and getting a kill, right? And sometimes the value of your flank is determined by whether or not you can reliably get that kill. Sometimes it's too hard, right? Or sometimes it's like you just missed a shot and that's unlucky and you die for it. But a lot of the times, like, you just gotta go for the play, right? Standard Widow positioning is like it's just too easy to play around for the most part, unless it's like a really oppressive position. Like now that you're here, right? Like now your team has gotten control, like you can sit here all day and do what, right?
No
But,
one can hide from my sight.
actually, teams hide a lot. You see how he plays around it? Like he knows where you are, and he knows you haven't moved, so he just like runs around the corner and hides, and makes it really hard for you to do anything, and while still contributing to the fight. And you can't ignore him because he does this to you, right? Wish my Widow aim was that good. Yeah, Widow aim's hard. But yeah, I know there's not a lot of great options for you to but, like once you get these kills, right? You need to like I would have liked it if you like maybe like you got that kill in the Zen and then like literally grappled over here or something, right? Or like took this angle. Just mix it up, move it around, right? And make them have to figure out how to reposition, like make them reposition to deal with your angle all the time. And eventually they'll make a mistake, right? That's kind of the goal.
Complete. Ready for battle.
It's really hard because sometimes, especially like what's that lead Atlanta Blue? They have a lead today. But it can be hard in lower lobbies to feel the need to move because they just keep peeking over again. But when you get to higher lobbies, scrims stuff like that, like it's really important that you just keep moving. You get max like 2 to 3 shots in one angle, even if you go back and forth, right? Even if you go back and forth between the same 2 angles, at least you're moving, as long as they see somewhat different things. 28 to 3. We're still talking about that. Playing Hanzo now. Ghetto Blue 24 to 9. Oh god. Yeah, that game was brutal. We played so bad. Second half was a
Ready
disaster.
for battle.
Oh yeah.
Alright, we're in. Cool. So Dube's going around. I'm not sure this pressure matters. Like you might get an extra shot, but for the most part, like you're just gonna mildly break the shields because you only have realistically only you and Arista can shoot the shield. Like Bap has like hit scan fall off, so his damage is like negligible at this range. The Sig is like currently just trying to walk forward. Because he doesn't shoot. unless you're confident that you have enough damage between you and the Orisa to like really break the shields and apply pressure to this Orisa, like it's probably just better to go with like Imp, for example, start pushing for a flank, or like spamming long range, spamming range from here and trying to like work your way around the same side of the map as the Doom. That way you can take an angle. But like just going main, I think, is probably not the point. Like this Doom's in, right? And you could be way closer if you just like, for example, just walked in from left. Right? If you were at Invis, right, you could potentially like cross and then start taking pot shots at point blank or something, right? And just being obnoxious like a Zen orb. Yeah, don't shoot this Rissa. It doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. Guys, make them scared to peek, right? You're the Hanzo. They need to be afraid of the logs. Rissa's not afraid of the log. So this is another thing. The way to use storm arrows generally is unless you don't need it and you're chucking out for like pressure or something like that. You need to save it for when you're about to get pressured on a flank, right? So both of Hanzo's abilities, his storm arrow and his sonic arrow, are really good for protecting yourself on a flank, right? So this sonic is really questionable because it lets you see the Orisa that you already knew was there, right? And sure, you might get an extra shot when she like walks into your line of sight or something, but it's not really that different from sonicking this side. And this side protects you from the tracer much better, right? It gives you much better tabs on her. And then on top of that, this the storm arrow, you're kind of banking on the Orisa backing up to you, and then like getting shot. But like, and I understand that, and it's like a pretty decent gamble. But if she doesn't, and then the tracer pushes you and your storm arrow's down, you're really bad. Because storm arrow is really it's not the best versus tracer, but it's like it just makes it a lot less punishing to miss shots on Hanzo and Tracer, right? Which is normally like you miss a shot, you sometimes just die, and you get maybe 2 to 3 shots, right? Unless you get healing. So I doubt the Tracer's going to push you in here, which is why the Storm Arrow is like a reasonable gamble, I think. But just keep in mind that the Storm Arrow is supposed to protect you on your aim, because it turns you into a tree for a couple seconds. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice, you owned it. But like she tried to push you because she knew you had no cooldowns, right? It was a dumb push, right? But something to keep in mind. See that Hanzo used Storm, right? He used Storm when the Doomfist showed up on his flank, right? And then like your Doom backs up, and then now the Hanzo's gonna have to leave because he doesn't. But like that's conceptually how it's supposed to work. Yeah, again, I really don't like you focusing on this Orisa so much. Just like, especially when you know that they backed up in this way and they're leaning away from. Just generally, your team's pushing the left side of the map, which means the enemy team's leaning away from like the side of the map, right? They're like reorienting more like this, right? Look at their concave. This is how it's set up, right? Here to like here. I need to actually use. From like here to here, they've like drawn a line, right? So that means in order to attack the concave, right? Either our character that can walk around here and push like this edge, right? Which is not your character, right? Or you go over here and attack this edge of the concave, right? And that's what your character is really good at. So that's what you need to do. Is you need to recognize that this shift is happening from like this line, right? This is their old line, like this line now, right? They're moving the line because based on the card positioning, you recognize that and like get here ASAP, right? Because this is how you attack this part of the line. So this is good. I just prefer if you went high ground first, then you showed up here. Then like good luck. The enemy team's really sad at that point. Like that Sonic. Yeah, do you notice how like you use like it's kind of like dynamite, right? You used your storm arrow on the flank, fishing for a kill, and then you immediately got pushed by the tracer and you had to bail, right? So you need to recognize earlier that your angle is weak once you've used this, the storm, and start backing up a little bit, right? You fish for the storm and then already pre-bail, and then probably just go high ground at that point. And that way you can save Sonic to secure your flank, right? You can come up, Sonic this, right, and then start peeking, and you feel very secure against the tracer. Oh, destroyed. But like you're just making this hard on yourself, right? You're having to force these hard shots. Good. I have no idea what just happened, but the point is, do you see how it challenged you and you storm arrows, and then you took a lot of damage, right? That's like the general concept of what happened. And you use storm arrows fishing for a kill, and you use Sonic to what do you use Sonic for? Actually. Yeah, Yeah, so once you get this kill, you probably just need a Sonic behind you. Again, use Sonic to protect your flank, unless like unless your position is so strong that you can use Sonic for like to enable kills, right? Or if you're using Sonic for your team to enable a kill, right? Like your Doom is about to go in, so you Sonic for him or something, right? Or your Widow's about to peek. Um, but like you generally want to use Sonics to protect your flank, right? Like if it's like double sniper and there's no flanking going on whatsoever, then use Sonic obviously to enable your Widow or something, or keep eyes on their Widow. But for the most part, you need to use Sonic to protect yourself. So protect your flank right after this kill, right? Especially when you have no storm arrow, right? Then depending on where, if you see people, right, that informs you what you need to do. Because if you don't see anyone, that means their sig is right, is still here, right? And then you would back up in this direction to get healing, then try to fight the people underneath you. But if he is going around, then you actually, paradoxically, this side becomes safer, right? Start splitting. Only been grinding open queue. Dude, open queue is a different beast. Bit of panic there.
Hello.
Yeah. I've been trio with Vic and Gabe, and we hit a long win streak. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. So just generally, like, you see how you spend all this time shooting the Rissa? Like, if you want to move in this direction, you need to cross, right? Save, like, use the card as cover, right? Save, dash or whatever it is, the beep, I don't know what it's called, to cross this area to get to here, right? And then use this as cover, and this makes the Rissa back up because now you're shooting your shield for free, right? And then you can use Sonic to protect your flank, right? And then push it, or just like generally spam more at them until like later, until the cart moves it forward a bit, right? But I really don't like you staying here because eventually you're gonna have to just don't do anything, right? Just shooting a Rissa shield. Failing that, right? Go high ground, right? And then protect your flank, obviously. And then hopefully take this place with like your Sig pushing this way. That way you can like secure this. They can't push up if your Sig's like walking right here, right? They bring way too many heroes. So for the most part, like that's generally your approach, right? Either the high ground this way or high ground this way. But you gotta get out of here, right? This place sucks. Alright, we just generally retreated, that's okay. Oh, they actually pull pulse. What the? A pull pulse? Yeah, you just didn't have any impact on the fight, right? You hit a couple shots, it was cool, you did some damage, right? But you're actually, in terms of what you actually accomplished, like you didn't take an angle, right? Got lost your the Zen to like the flanking tracer, then these guys all backed up and died together. It isn't like unreasonable. Like you could be doing more, I think. Yeah, again, not a fan for this because like again the odds of the pick even with the storm arrow are relatively low. Yeah, the pull pulse combo. Yeah, is relatively low because it's a Sigma, right? With Discord, so he has to make a pretty big mistake to die to you there. So instead you could save storm arrow, just like generically shoot across, and then use storm to fight for this high ground, right? Yeah, so not a fan of the Sonic because again, you know they have Tracer, you don't actually know where the Tracer is, right? Turns out it's right here, and if like Sonic to look for the Tracer is just really, really powerful. There's the Tracer, right? And again, your Sonic's on cooldown. At least you have your Storm Arrow this time. But yeah. See, Storm Arrow lets you fight Tracer. It is good for fighting Tracer, right? That's the general premise. And just for protecting your flank in general, right? But like this is why you should go high ground instead, right? Use Sonic to secure it, and then fight for the Tracer. The way you protect your Zen, right, isn't necessarily to like shoot the Tracer attacking your Zen. It's to come up here, find the Tracer early with your Sonic, and then get your orb and kick her out because you have Sonic, Storm Arrow, and orb, right? And the ability to just go up and down, right? So you like control that, then you insulate your Zen, right? Unless she comes from the other side, that's a different problem, right? But then you can take this flank for free at that point if the Tracer's not here, and if you fight her off, then like you get time here. That's really valuable. But like you had to win that fight, and then you died after that. We'll go eat, so I'll try to catch next stream. Yep, we'll do. See you, Dan. Thanks for tuning in.
60 seconds remaining.
Top 500 in open queue. How high is top 500 in open queue? I feel like it's not very.
Start over at the beginning.
3K is the lowest. Alright, it's a new season as well.
Marked.
When are you gonna get that top 500 combined SR? Because that one's also really low. Just need to play 25 games, right? Roll? Which is, I mean, a lot of games, but like, you've already placed all 3 rolls, right? So you're already part of the way there. Good. Use Sonic to secure like the ability to walk up, which is in itself value. Just use Sonic to fight you. This to fight for the flank, right? So this Tracer used 3 blinks and a recall to kill your Zen. So yeah, she outplayed. That's a pretty crazy play. But now she has no cooldown, so you can keep fighting, right? So again, that's the value of like challenging the Tracer early. Like she did kill your Zen, which is kind of nuts to be honest. But you can do that now because she has no cooldowns. She doesn't know where you are either. She lost you. That Sonic is fine because again, this is your flank now, right? Sonic is okay. Oh, this leap is risky. Woo! Probably, instead of shooting the Rissa, you probably had to try and climb here. That might have kept you alive. I don't know if it would have, but it might have. Team clutch? Team clutch.
Payload has reached the checkpoint.
Greetings. By the dragon.
Taking high ground. Walls. That was your Sonic, I'm stupid. Dragon in general in this corridor is really he's dumb, so this kill works.
So predictable.
But it's really important again. See how the Sigma immediately gets contested by like the rest of your team, right? That's good. Just keep in mind that like if your rest of your team is not doing that, that's kind of your job, right? To marshal the troops and like fight on this side of the map. Because if both the rest of us are sitting here, generally speaking, nothing's gonna happen.
See that which is unseen.
Sort of like Bongo or something. Your Tracer on your right. Don't use storm arrows over here. Start looking for the Tracer, right? Fleshing her out. Make her really uncomfortable. Tear her down.
Blocked by the dragon.
Hey, that Sonic is like not very. I know it got blocked, but even if this it? This is the Sonic. That is the Sonic. Okay. Yeah, I know it got blocked, but even if you Sonic this, like it wouldn't change much because the Sigma would just shield you to enable the rotate if they want to rotate. They're still waiting for the Rissa, so they don't even want to. But whereas you could be using the Sonic to make the Tracer really uncomfortable. Right? You could Sonic her, your Doom could make a play that would force her to do something, and then you could hunt her down, right? Or you could make a play, right? Obviously that's a little bit harder, but. Like this pressure that your Tracer, the Tracer's getting on Imp is like, not mostly, but like, the Imp dying there is kind of unusual. You definitely could have mitigated that. I did it.
See through the dragon's
Again,
eyes.
Sonic on the Sigma's cool, right? Sigma is not what's going to kill you. It's this guy, right? So you need to protect your flank with it. I think less about Sonic people, unless it's like a Tracer. Where like they have enough mobility that round is actually like keeping tabs on them. Yeah, so the shot's kind of unfortunate. But also positionally, like we're in middle low ground as opposed to like example resetting, right? As soon as you realize the Tracer like is on you, right? Either reclimb this thing if you can, right? I know it's kind of risky because they're taking control, or like set up on their side, right? Take their high ground, right? And fight this guy where you don't have to worry about the Tracer, right? Backs to the wall. Or like kill him, right? And then control the Tracer flank, right? Tracer's now immediately limited what you but get off the ground, possible. So Sonic to protect yourself, keep an eye on flanks, right? If you get chased out of your flank, use vertical mobility to adjust. And then also save cooldowns by Tracer. I think those are my general.
60 seconds.
Team wins, nice. Tracer.
Has reached
Gonna go to next spawn and switch. Okay. Hanzo again or Widow? Widow, okay. I like this grapple. No, there's no Widow, so it's very safe. And then on top of that, like it happened to line up the bomb, so it forced them to move. Right. Again, angle-wise, this sucks, right? So we need to go either really far this way or really far this way. It does not matter which way, right? But pick a side and push it. Although you're still getting shots on. But do you see what Imp does, right? Imp's like, yo, I don't want to do this. So he goes this way and immediately finds a kill, right? Because like he doesn't want to. Yeah, this grapple is also this functionally the same thing as changing your angle, right? You only get one shot, right? Maybe two, but it's changing your angle, right? Yeah. So here, poison mine no longer matters. They have no flankers, right? So just chuck that poison mine wherever you want. Nice. See how the Sigma is not allowed to participate because he's busy trying to like block you, like his backline's just getting wrecked. Oh, whip. Angle's cool, right? You get two shots, and then again, you get two shots, maybe three, and then immediately you gotta change. Either they're gonna make you change, or you gotta change yourself. Because they're not gonna give you anything. I don't like that grapple. I know there's a Sombra on you, but your whole team's here. And if you died her, like, this is like a problem on your support, right? Or your diva. So maybe in like the the Hickman scrims you die there, right? But like, if you have like competent teammates, that should not happen. Now you don't have grapple for like to change your angle, right? You can grapple off this wall and take a shot, right? And these guys might not be expecting it because they're expecting you to be down here earlier. Can't see up there. But see again, do you see how your actions is I kick this guy out, I'm retaking my same angle, right? But like no, you gotta move. You gotta find somewhere else to go. You also got a flanker, so you gotta be aware of poison. Here, okay. I guess that's okay.
60 seconds.
You have grapple now. Change your angle a little bit.
No one can hide from my sight.
Grapple up somewhere, right? Instead of doing this, you should grapple up, or like grapple up to here, right? Or just like hold this angle and then look for a grapple angle when you're about to peek or something. Or maybe just don't walls there and hope they stay in the area and then go for the grapple shot and then afterwards like start flanking with walls. Not a huge fan of like this play because you can't see anything, right? Like you have walls, but your team isn't pushing at the same time because they're dead. And like you can't do anything. You can't force the issue.
Move the payload.
Grapple to change angles. That's fine. I would have liked that timing to be slightly later when like your Orisa's like going for a pull play or something, just walking forward, putting down shield and pulling, and that pulls attention. But
30 seconds.
okay.
Let them up.
I got that Orisa died. Yeah, so right here, it's really, really important. But like you need to do something, right? And it's either go around this way, like play under, right? Maybe you find a kill that way, kill, and then you bail really hard, or like wait until like these guys' attention is diverted, and you literally just grapple up and try and take a shot, right? High risk, high reward, right? The alternative way is kind of difficult against Sombra, but if she just gets kicked out or something, or where she's shooting over here or something, go all the way around, right? Wait, I had no idea this was the hole here. Like actually zero idea. Okay, so if you're Hanzo, you could go here. I didn't know that, but but on Widow, like you probably don't want to grapple there, so you out, right? And this will give you a free Zen shot, right? Getting a Zen kill is really big because then you can just poison mine this afterward, and then the Sombra can't push you anymore. You can go deeper, right? You get a second shot and then bail, or like get a second shot and then grapple over the wall or something. I don't know how far you can go over the wall. Can you go over this? I don't know if you can. I don't think. But you can get another shot over the wall, and then you start running, right? Or pushing deeper. You have a health pack behind you, so you're not super scared. You just need to watch out for getting pushed by like by more than one person. But like you just can't be here, right? This is like the lowest risk, but also the lowest reward play. And like to break this choke, you need to take risks. This choke is miserable. Right, do you see how they're all just hiding behind cart and you can't see anything?
10 seconds.
They're all just LOSing main, right? Because you're sitting main, that means. Oh. Alright. So that about wraps it up. On Widow, you gotta keep changing your angles. You need to know when you need to take risks and when you don't have to. For the most part, like on attack, taking risks is okay. Unless you, or just generally, when I say attack, I mean when you have control of the cart. In this case, they had control of the objective because they were installing it for free, right? They didn't have to approach the cart. But when you have control, you don't really need to take risks. But when you don't have control, you kind of have to take risks to regain the control. So Widow, you gotta change up your angle more. On Hanzo, you were a bit better about it, probably because like it was like cooldown list mobility. But you still need to be more assertive about taking angles and not stacking with their DPS and just staying on a main engine. And then also you need to save your cooldowns to help you take the angle or to hold the angle. Sonic is really good for holding angles. It's also really good to see if the angle is clear, so you can just walk in, right? And then Storm Arrow is just like it turns you into like better at fighting close range, right? Um, so those are things to consider, and then also just abuse your high ground mobility more, right? Just hug walls as much as you can, because if you get pushed, you just climb the wall. If you don't actually want to be high ground, right? Yeah, let me know if this helps. Yeah, out here.